Okay, let's run.
Your mission, should you choose to accept it.
It's a quest. It's a quest for fun.
Well, The Rock says, why don't we just cut right to the chase?
Okay, now he wants to get together. Well, he wants to talk.
I want you to do me a favor. I want you to tell all your friends about me.
It's showtime, folks!
What are you?
Greetings and salutations. This is And I Quote, the weekly show where we introduce you to some of the best creators from all over the world, and we find out more about them by taking your questions. I am your host, Ryan of And I Quote channel, and our guest on this episode is someone who is no stranger to the And I Quote studio family. She's been here before, but it's been a minute. Please welcome indie author extraordinaire Kelsey Winton is in the building. Hello, Kelsey. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Oh, we're fine. We're all fine here. No, thank you. How are you? Anyway, that's a reference from another movie that comes it turns 50 in less than 2 years, which is crazy. It's wild. It really is. Which maybe we'll talk more about that later. Star Wars. So with that being said, if you're just tuning in, don't forget to like and share this with your closest friends. If you're watching this live or on the replay, thank you for being here. And if you have any questions for our guest of honor, Kelsey, let us know in those comments. Let us know in the chat. We're more than happy to take those from you as they come in, respectively. With that piece of business taken care of and out of the way, Kelsey, who are some of your favorite writers or favorite books, past or present?
Oh, you're coming out with a hard one to start. I would say in my foundational years, I was really influenced by Shakespeare. My debut novel, Games of Tangled Hearts, is actually a retelling of Two Gentlemen of Verona, kind of reskinned for gamelit romance. So I feel like the themes and the content of his writing is timeless. I was always a big Jane Austen fan. More modernly, contemporary. I'm trying to read a little bit wider and diversify my reading a little bit. So I'm reading in genres across the board. Really into fantasy. George R.R. Martin, I think, is a fantastic writer. In romance, gosh, there's so many that I love. I'm really on a Megan Quinn kick right now. Also, Danny Galliaro is another indie author, or hybrid author, I should say now, that I've been consuming a lot of her books voraciously. She's also from like the West Virginia Appalachia area, so she's really leaning into that heritage. And I know Pennsylvania isn't necessarily Appalachia, but I live right around the Appalachian Mountains, so I feel a little bit of kinship to that.
Oh, all right. That's nice. There's Gora Bear in these hills. No, wait, that's not it. That's not the mountains. I'm sorry. Appalachia. Appalachian, something like that. I was never good at geography. I'm sorry, fans. But that's cool. I dig it. I totally dig it. What would you say are some of your favorite TV series, past or present? Past and present.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I remember as a kid, Rugrats. We would sit down and watch that voraciously as a family. But I also, like, when I first started writing, the first thing that I ever remember writing was Sailor Moon fan fiction.
Oh, wow.
Because I loved that show so much. I would always I got to get home after school and catch whatever part of Sailor Moon that I can. Pokemon growing up. I know you and I have talked about Power Rangers a lot.
Oh, yeah.
So like all these nostalgic 90s throwbacks, I would be reminiscent to say I did not consume SpongeBob voraciously as well. Supernatural. I watched Doctor Who. I'm trying to go through all right, this was my high school. Now that was my college. Now what am I watching now? I've been re-binging Vikings.
Nice.
Of course, Stranger Things. I've watched Sandman. I've already talked about being a George Martin fan. So Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon, we watched season 1 of the zombie video game, The Last of Us.
Oh yeah.
Because again, we're big. My husband and I are big fans of the series, but for some reason, season 2 just isn't capturing us like season 1 did. But we're still trying with it.
Yeah.
He and I just binge watched White Collar together. I watched
That's a great show.
Smallville for the first time.
Really?
Yes, just recently. But he's also never seen Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So now he's going to go back and watch Buffy with me.
That's great.
And spin-offs, Angel, Charmed. I could keep going on.
Well, what did you think of Smallville? What was your reaction?
So,
because that's 10 seasons and 218 episodes of flavor right there. Like that is a huge
content. It took us like a year.
That's a huge amount of homework. It's a lot of history, a lot of DC history, a lot of different characters show up. There's Aquaman's over here. There's Cyborgs over there. There's who else shows up? Green Arrow is in it. I mean,
he plays a big part in it. Then one of the Flashes shows up. It's not Barry Allen. I think it's
Wally West.
Yeah, Wally West.
Wally West. Yeah.
I think that.
I think it is.
In the first early seasons, it was very much like who's the freak of the week.
Exactly. Meteor freak of the week. Yeah.
Meteor freak of the week, which I understand, and it's a formula that worked very well. Like Power Rangers did a very similar formula.
Same thing.
And
they were finding their footing.
Yeah, they're finding their footing. They're finding their audience, and I like the introduction of the different types of kryptonite and how they had a different effect.
Yeah,
on Clark.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and say that I was a huge Lana Lang fan, and I actually have.
I'm sure Kristen Crook has heard this all before.
Yeah. I don't blame her. I think she played Lana fantastically.
Great actress.
I think it was. She's a great actress. I think it was just the writing, and
we
all know that she wasn't Endgame. So it's like, why are we spending 8 seasons with her?
Long time.
Long time. Especially when you introduce Lois.
She comes in season 4 and she comes in hot too. And by the way, I'm not saying that to describe her as her physical beauty, although Erica Durance is one of the most beautiful women that ever graced our earth. But
yes.
when she comes into season 4, she's not holding back anything at all. I mean,
she's like dodging and rolling around from a helicopter, for heaven's sake. I'm like, that's how you introduce a character.
She's seeing Clark with no clothing numerous times when they first meet, right? First time they meet is in the cornfield. He's by himself. He's got no articles of clothing on. Just sorry if I'm getting a little too graphic here. But then the next, one of the next scenes, you see her in one of the future episodes of season 4, which I think ends brilliantly, I might add, is where Clark is in the dunk tank at school because he's playing football for the Crows now. He keeps baiting her that she can't hit the target to knock him into to dunk him in the tank respectively. But she says, look, I learned this on an army base, son. I know what I'm doing. And when she throws that and he lands into the water and then she goes up and like brushes his hair and sprinkles it or whatever. And then she's got that smirk and that smile on her face. And then Chloe's like, okay, there's a bit of a lovey-dovey thing going on between the two. My life is over. She becomes the third wheel all over again, which is that notwithstanding. That notwithstanding, the exchange between Clark and Lois, just their looks at each other, the way he smirks and smiles at her and she smiles right back at him with that big wide smile. I'm like, yep, this is the Lois and Clark like we want this. We need this, So
but then we don't get it for like another 4 seasons. And I'm like, come on.
It was rough on you, wasn't it? Wasn't that rough to see them, will they or won't they, for so many years, and then finally they clicked? I think it was like later in season 8 or even season 9.
Season 9, because season 8 was still him kind of getting over Lana.
It's crazy.
And there was never a will they, won't they, because you know that they will. So I'm like, why are you? I mean, from narratively speaking, I get it. It's like one thread that you have to tease us out with, and
they stretched it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they stretched it.
So overall, you enjoyed the show? Is it fair to say?
Yeah, I didn't understand it before. I'm like, how could a series about Superman be 10 seasons? But I really get it after sitting down and watching it.
It's beautiful. That makes this Superman / diehard Smallville fans' ever-loving heart just glow and smile. So thank you for telling us that and sharing that with us and sharing that with me personally, because I've been a Smallville fan since season 5. I started watching season 5, episode 100, the Reckoning episode.
Yeah.
You remember that? That one just
Yeah.
destroyed me. It destroyed, and it was the very first piece of content I've ever seen from Smallville. Because leading up to that, I never watched the show.
That was your standard?
The very first thing I ever saw that was Smallville. And let me tell you,
what an episode to come in on.
You're not kidding. So let me tell you a neat true Hollywood story, a little behind the scenes. And by the way, we've shared this story a number of times on And I Quote Channel's programming, but I'm going to share it again because since hey, she brought it up, guys. So it's not like I planned this. It just happened. So I saw a promo one night saying, hey, it's the 100th episode. It's coming up tonight, 8:00 Eastern on the WB Thursday, whatever it was. And I was like, wait a minute, Smallville has made it to 100 episodes? Are you serious? You got to be kidding me, because that's like a bit of a rarity. So I click it. I flip the channels. I go to the WB. I think it was still the WB at the time before they switched over to the CW network at that point. And I watched the episode. And from beginning to end, I was hooked. But the ending, the last, probably, I would say, what is it? Like last 10 minutes, maybe 15, destroyed me. It destroyed me in so many different ways. And maybe not so much crazy, but the very sentimental thing that hooked me was that I lost my dad 6 weeks before that episode went on the air. So when I lost my Pa Kent in my circles, in my world, and when Clark loses Jonathan, sorry, spoiler alert for a 25-year-old show, but when he loses Jonathan, the way that he did, and I lost mine to a somewhat similar fashion, not that he got into a fight with Lionel Luthor in the back of our barn, but he had similar circumstances surrounding his unfortunate passing with my dad personally, just to let everybody know. The moment that happened, I bawled my eyes out for what felt like hours on end, because I felt what Clark was dealing with. I was in it with Clark. I felt every single emotion coming out of his system that I felt, because I was like, dude, I am right there with you. I literally just experienced this 6 weeks ago. 6 weeks ago, I experienced this for myself, and it is not easy. It sucks. It's hard. It's brutal. It doesn't get any easier, period. But the way it ends with the funeral, the Peter Gabriel song playing over the background, I think you know what I'm talking about, right? I grieve. Oh, just this tear ducts, just massive buckets. But it's great. It's great filmmaking. It's great acting, great writing, when Lana gets hit by the bus, I mean, even I was freaking out at that. I was like, wait a minute, are they gonna? Is this the thing? Like, is this the end of Lana? Really gonna happen? Like, is Lana gonna get killed off, and then like he's gonna end up with Lois like 2 episodes later, and then his dad becomes a senator and all this other stuff. Like, what is going on? And then when they switched it and they pulled the switcheroo, because it is true to the comics that Clark does lose his dad in the comics of DC Legacy.
So we know that it's coming, but the way that they do it, like it still hits every heartstring.
Brilliant. But the way they executed it was so brilliant, because you didn't think it was going to happen, but it happened. And it was so anyway. That's my true Hollywood story about how Smallville is so important to me and how I relate to it on so many deeper levels. And a lot of people can too. I'm not just saying this for me. I know there's other people out there who can relate to this in so many different ways. But Smallville it's in my blood. It's not going anywhere. That's why Smallville, the series, just as a TV series, made me a bigger and more appreciative Superman fan than I already was. Because I grew up on the Christopher Reeves. I grew up on the animated series from Kids WB. I grew up on the Justice League, the Justice League Unlimiteds. Obviously I grew up having a huge crush on Terry Hatcher, with Dean Cain as Clark Kent Superman, and Lois and Clark. Believe me when I tell you, folks, if you're a 90s kid watching ABC Sunday nights or whatever it was, we were glued to our TV screens when Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman, showed up. All right. So that's Superman is everything. And I haven't seen the new movie yet. I'm looking forward to seeing it. I'll see it at some point. But congratulations on finishing 10 years.
Thank you.
Which is not an easy thing for anyone to accomplish, because you said it yourself. It took you a year to get through 10
It took me a year. It took us a year to sit down and do it all.
It's a
because the episodes are still like, I mean, they're like 42 minutes long,
whatever,
some minutes long, but it's still like an hour of your time to sit down and watch
when you have
an
to pause
episode.
it. Yeah, when you have to pause it, go to the bathroom, whatever,
and talk about it and rewatch the scene, like yeah, absolutely.
It's not easy. But congratulations, that's fantastic. It's super terrific. I know that's a bad pun, but once again, this is not the bad pun episode of And I Quote. And don't forget to like and share this with all of your closest friends. If you watch us live on the Super Replay, hello there. If you have any questions for our guest of honor, Kelsey, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat, and we're happy to hear from you. You mentioned Buffy. You mentioned some other titles out there. Outside of the TV realm of things, what are some of your favorite movies, past or present?
This is when I get to flex a little bit and be like, my anniversary is on May the 5th. So I'm not going to sit here and say that Star Wars isn't a cinematic masterpiece.
That's great.
Yeah. So
yeah,
I just went to go see Jurassic Rebirth, actually.
Jurassic World Rebirth. Yeah,
Jurassic World Rebirth.
How was it?
And I liked it. I felt like it went back to more like traditional roots of Jurassic Park. A very simple storyline that isn't trying to overcomplicate things.
Yeah.
There's a cameo with some raptors, but it doesn't like heavily feature raptors. But you get swimming T-Rexes.
Oh my gosh.
And yeah, and it's
terrifying.
It's really good. And Jonathan Bailey, of course, like munching on some Altoids, but I've always loved the Jurassic Park franchise. Like, I feel like that there's
Wow.
I mean, some more than others,
obviously,
but gosh,
a lot of raptors.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is that life finds a way.
Life finds
That's all
a
I'm
way.
saying. Got to give it to Ian and Malcolm for that.
Go faster, must go faster.
Must go. And he uses that 3 years later in Independence Day. It's crazy. Yeah, Spielberg tried to stop him from saying that in Independence Day. He tried to get like a copyright against him for that. I'm like, dude, people say must go faster in dozens of movies. Jeff Goldblum's not going to be the first one to say it. He won't be the last either.
No.
But eventually, I think Spielberg or Jeff Goldblum, he worked it out, and he was able to work it in as his character David Levinson in Independence Day. Which, believe it or not, turns 30 next year.
30.
Yeah, it turns 30 because it came out in 96. I don't know if you knew this or
Oh
not.
my goodness.
I know we're getting way too young for this. It's so weird. But I know I just dated myself. I'm so sorry. But yeah.
I mean, Jaws is also turning what, like
Jaws just turned 50.
50.
That's half a century. That's half a century, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh my goodness.
I know. And we did a movie anniversary. We did a movie anniversary watch along for that. If you want to go back and watch the tape, it was a lot of fun.
So I'm gonna have to put that on my watch list.
Please do, because you're going to need a bigger boat. Yeah, I'm sorry. I had to work it. Sorry,
You're
man.
not sorry. It's okay. It's a great line.
We always use the lines around here. We have to say it once. No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Please continue. Any other movies that stand out to you that you enjoy?
I did a rewatch of Pride and Prejudice on my birthday.
Oh,
I know.
There you go.
And one. This is a rare thing. One movie that I think is actually better than the book.
Okay.
And I'll reverse this question for you: is The Princess Bride?
Inconceivable. Okay.
Inconceivable.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, I actually think that that's better than
That's fair.
The movie is better than the book.
I'm sure.
I've read the book, and I'm not saying that the book's bad. Like, definitely go through if you're a Princess Bride fan and read the book.
Okay. Read the book. All right.
I mean, I could just say that. Period. Read the book.
That's fair.
But
I get it.
I don't subscribe to the book is always better. Most of the time, the book is better.
I mean, a lot of people would say the book 99 times out of 100 is better than the movie. I mean, granted, I read the book before I saw the Hunger Games, and I still like both properties for different reasons. I like the book, but I also very much like the movie, because the movie does every movie that's adapted from a book take creative liberties. It's Hollywood.
Absolutely.
They do it every single day of every day of the week. But the stuff that they put in or took out, whatever it was, at least in the first installment, because I already read the first book. I didn't read Catching Fire or Mockingjay, plus people told me Mockingjay is pretty bad. Catching Fire is okay, but Mockingjay is just not good. But I read the first book before I saw the movie, and I got to tell you, I liked it. I think it was pretty darn good. It was a pretty good adaptation.
It's pretty damn close.
I think it's pretty close too, which hence the reason I like the book as much as I like the movie. Now, granted, I have not read what was the second one, Catching Fire or Mockingjay, so I can't comment on the other two members of that trilogy. But some people have said Mockingjay is the least of the three, and then people say, "Oh, Catching Fire is fine; it's all right," but it doesn't. Maybe I'll read Catching Fire. I don't know.
I've heard a Ballad of Songbirds
Oh, and
and
Songbirds and Snakes. Snakes.
Yeah, I know. I haven't gotten a chance to read that yet. I read Hunger Games way back when, and I remember liking them all, but also I was just infatuated with the series, so I
Oh,
don't
right.
think that I could have looked at it objectively. Like if I went back and reread it now, I
Yeah.
could look at it objectively. But
Mhm.
you're introducing a rebellion ultimately, so the book is deviating from,
It's true.
not that the Hunger Games is light material, but there's a little bit of a formula that's going to go along with it. You kind of have an idea
Dark.
of what to expect. It's dark.
It gets
Um,
dark, folks.
so, but and then we transition to a different type of dark.
Hmm.
So it's not necessarily the same that way. And then we came back to books from movies. So
Yeah.
I'm like, I'll say that I haven't watched as many movies in the last couple of years than I have whenever I was younger. And I think that COVID had a lot to do with that because we just didn't go to the movies. But also, I think the introduction of streaming
That was a
services
huge
and
thing.
being able, it's a huge turning point because you can take longer to tell a story with streaming than the 2.5 hours with a movie.
And not only that, and nothing against the movie theater industry, because I know everyone's trying to make a buck, and I get that. You
Yeah.
know, people working hard, they're working their tails off to make the money and make ends meet, of course. Let's not kid ourselves. But I got to tell you, I'm very much used to just sitting at home and streaming nowadays. I really am.
Yeah.
And honestly, especially with the newer stuff, I'm just like, you know what? It's going to be on streaming in 2 months. Honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, movie theaters, they have this window now where it has to be between, I think it's like 30 to 45 days. A movie has to be in theaters before it could be submitted to go on a streaming service. And I'm just thinking to myself, why would I waste $10 or $15 if I can just watch it for free at home?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you can pause it when you have to step out of the room for a minute and have to grab something to eat, maybe go to the bathroom. That happens, folks. When you're sitting in front of a theater for 3 hours, you have to go to the bathroom once in a while. So I could just take my remote, point at the television, and be, excuse me, we're going to take a break, please. You know, and then I just come back 2 minutes later.
Unless you don't have the streaming service, like in my case with Wicked, that I swore it was going to come to Disney Plus, but never did. It went to Peacock, and I don't have that, so now I don't get to watch Wicked.
I thought that was a Disney. Never mind. Sorry.
Nope.
I thought Wicked was going to go to Disney like everything else has, but
Yeah.
sorry guys, didn't happen.
Nope, went to Peacock. So I'm like,
darn
I got to find a way to watch that movie.
You do, because I've heard good things about it. I've heard good things. Personally, I haven't seen it, but I hear things, folks. I hear things. I'm a podcaster. We hear stuff. It happens. Great titles, by the way, when it comes to movies that you threw out there. So that's good. We can agree on that. Star Wars, you mentioned it. Goes without saying. Yeah. Is your favorite one Empire?
No, my favorite one is Rogue One.
Oh, it is Rogue One. Oh, yeah, that's okay. All right, the best
One.
people we ever got. All right, fantastic. Wonderful. So, I love Rogue One. Who doesn't? I mean, some people don't. Some people do. I wouldn't say it's not a divisive film by any stretch, but there are some that say, "Oh, it's not as good." Listen, it's a spinoff of the originals. Okay, so you can't really compare it to the OG trilogy because it's its own thing. Even though it connects to New Hope, which I understand, it's still its own thing. So you can't really compare it. Yeah. But it's still a really darn good movie. And it hits you in the feels. And it hits you in the feels every single time.
Every time. I call it like a Titanic movie because, like, you know the boat's going to sink. So you know what's going to happen. You know what's going to happen, but you don't know what's going to happen every single step of the way. It's such a good movie. She
knows. See, this is what I'm saying. It works, folks. It works. Once again, this is And I Quote with the guest of honor, Kelsey Winton, who knows more than I can possibly fathom. If you have any questions for us, let us know in the comments. If you're watching us live on the, I know. If you're watching us live on the replay, hello there, and don't forget to like and share. Just throwing that out there as a for instance. What made you decide to become a writer?
So I have two different answers for this question. The first one is I feel like I always have been a writer. And I just didn't know how to be one because we were always told, go to college, like you're not going to make any money as a writer. Like you need to get a real job. And like I was saying, I was writing Sailor Moon fan fiction probably when I was, like 7, 8 years old. It was not any good by today's standard, but I just remember being infatuated with the story and asking myself questions like, what if? I remember writing Naruto fan fiction whenever I was in high school. So part one to that answer is like I've always just been a writer. Like stories have always been inside of me and wanted to come out. And the second answer to my question, then when did I decide to start pursuing writing, is more like the question is about 2 years ago. I got my master's degree in English with a concentration in literature and language. And I had a steady job. I could pay the bills. I had a little bit of disposable income, and writing a book was always a lifelong dream. And I decided to make it a reality. Like it was a decision that I made within myself. That's just like, Kelsey, you're going to write a book now. Like, now is the time. And that's how Games of Tangled Hearts came about.
Wow, that's cool. You've always had it in you. It just took you a minute to find it. And
It just took me a couple years to find it.
Couple years? I thought you were going to say a couple minutes. I'm sorry. Sorry, I was looking at my producer's notes, but I thought it was a couple minutes. No, it was a couple of years. All right, cool. See, I can't even tell time. I'm bad with this. That's why I'm not the smartest person in the room. It's basically like someone saying, "Are you smarter than a fifth grader?" Here, new episode tonight, 8 p.m. No, I'm just kidding. Did you ever watch that game show?
I did watch that game show.
That was fun.
And I'm like, at the time, I think I was still in school whenever I was watching it. So it's like, of course I know this stuff. But now I'm like, nope. I remember learning that, but I could not tell you what the capital of Alabama is.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
That was a fun game show hosted by, I think it was Blue Collar Comedy Tour's own Jeff Foxworthy, if I'm not mistaken. So well done, fellas. That was a fun show back in the day. And I'm sure there's reruns available to stream for free on YouTube. # not a sponsor. Even though we're streaming on that service right now, so you're welcome, folks. Is that a double negative? I don't know what I'm saying. But besides that, what are some of the biggest rewards about being a writer?
You give those little voices in your head something to talk about. Biggest reward, I think. That's such a good question. For me, taking the process, it was a 2-year process to bring Games of Tangled Hearts to life, from conception to putting that book in my hand. And I cried whenever I got that first copy, because I put so much of my heart and my sweat and my tears into writing that novel. And that seeing something that you thought up in your imagination come to life. It's like almost like playing a game of D&D. I'm a dungeon master myself. I play in a weekly game on Twitch, and it's like you think of this character in your head and you're able to play with it in this imaginary world, but bringing it to life and having something tangible that you can touch and you can pick up and you can flip through, and then people come and tell you, "Oh my gosh, this book was so good." That's what makes it worth it in the end. That's, I would say, why I write.
I can dig it.
To make those connections.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I can dig it, folks. Flip side of the coin, though, biggest challenges about being a writer.
Putting words down on page. The biggest piece of advice that I actually give when people are like, "Well, like, what's your advice to new writers?" is to establish a writing routine, and that you should write at least one word a day, because even if just one word, then that's one word that you didn't have before, and eventually you'll get to the point where you'll have enough words on the page, and hopefully you write more than one word in it every single day. But finding the time in your busy adult life with adult responsibilities to sit down and give yourself just 20 minutes to get words out onto the page, even when they don't want to come. That's the biggest challenge.
That's very true. That's very true. You know, fun fact, because I'm a new writer to the game myself. And I got to tell you, I got all these ideas in my mind, and I write them down in I have this little notebook over here. You can't see it. It's off to the side of our studio, but I write my ideas down so I don't forget. But at the same time, it's like, okay, But how do I get this down on? How do I get this down on the laptop? The laptop's right there. The Google Doc is open. Just
write it.
Just type it.
But
Who
it's
cares?
the hardest thing.
It really is, because the ideas are swirling around in one's mind, but you got to think to yourself, okay, this needs a beginning, a middle, and an end. So who's the main character? Who's the antagonist? What's good? But then once you take a moment and you just take a moment to breathe and have some music on it, if that helps you as a writer, or you just think of, okay, this is my idea. Let's play around with this a little bit. So once upon a time, this is how the story is going to start. Once upon a time in a fairyland. No. I'm just kidding. This isn't a fairy tale, guys. But I would say you get, and the biggest thing that I've learned from other writers is the introduction has to hook the reader. You got to hook the reader.
Yeah.
With something very strong in the beginning. You got to hook them from basically sentence, or if not word number one. You've got to hook them in the first sentence. It's like, okay, this is the story. I'm not going to give you the whole plot, but I'm going to tell you this is what the setting is going to be like, or this is what I want the reader to feel when they read this first couple of sentences. You know what I mean? So this is it's all about the intro, ladies and gentlemen. You got it. Strong intro just oozes great storytelling. You just got to start there. Work your way through it. And obviously, as a writer, first draft, that's why they call it a rough draft, because it's rough. It's going to be terrible. It's going to be awful. But you just write it, get it out, send it to your editor. Or if you edit yourself, that's fine too, with all due respect. I'm just throwing it out there. Make the edits, make the revisions, let some people read it, get some ARC readers, right? Is that what they're called? ARC readers?
They could be called alpha, beta, or ARC readers, depending on where you are in the process.
Okay. Beta readers, ARC readers, all readers.
All
Just
readers.
Get me a reader in here. So, send it to some friends of yours and let them read it. And then let them give you constructive feedback, right? Because that helps everybody.
That helps everybody.
So
that's
something that I've learned.
So I actually use a tool that's called the Story Spine, which actually does start once upon a time. There was like introduce your main character, and every day they did blah 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 until one point blah blah blah, and then it's like until then, and then the moral of the story, and that helps me construct like the basic flow and the big story beats, and then I can take that and expand that into my outline so that I have different story beats. So I thought that was really funny that you started the once upon a time.
Yeah. If I were writing a fairy tale, which I'm not, the ideas I have nothing to do with fairy tales. Although some of the ideas I have are for different genres, and I want to, dip my toes in a little bit.
Yeah.
And then some of them concern characters that are registered in the public domain. I want to tackle some public domain characters somewhere down the line, so that would be nice. So,
any particular characters in mind?
When it comes to what? In general or the public domain?
The public domain.
I was thinking of Three Musketeers.
Okay.
Because I grew up watching the Disney movie with Kiefer Sutherland and Charlie Sheen and Oliver Platt. That's Chris O'Donnell, such a freaking good movie. Robin Hood, even though Robin Hood's been around for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, and he's had so many different stories. It's but at the same time, because of the Hunger Games and Green Arrow appearing on Smallville and obviously Arrow the TV series, I like archery. I think archery is badass. So it's like, well, why can't I just write a story about Robin Hood? Robin Hood's in the public domain. You're not messing with anything, so so I have ideas for what's the other one? King Arthur, Knights of the Round Table. Got an idea for let's see. Messages abound. It could be Robin Hood. It could be Robin Hood crossing paths with King Arthur, or King Arthur having a crossover with Three Musketeers. I've had ideas for that. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So those are. Sorry if the dings are going on, but anyway. Those are some of the ideas I have when it comes to public domain characters. I grew up on watching the movie The Mask of Zorro, and I think Zorro is a public domain character, which is another swashbuckling character. So, maybe I can write a Zorro story, because I like Zorro, and I'm a huge fan of the Antonio Banderas and Catherine Zeta-Jones, who everybody had a crush on. Don't lie to yourself. Movie. So
it's like Rachel Weisz. If anybody tells me they didn't have a crush on Rachel Weisz, I'm just
in The Mummy. Yeah.
Yes.
In The Mummy. Yeah,
Correct.
She wasn't in Zorro, but she was in The Mummy. So, yeah. I am a librarian.
I made a D&D character that was like that one time, and then she yeeted books at people to injure them.
Really?
Yep.
That's pure. That's great. That's great. I have a lot of friends of ours in the Men's Adventure Fiction Writers Discord. They are diehard Mummy fans. So the fact that you said that, they would enjoy that. because they're diehard Mummy fans of Brendan Fraser, Rachel Weisz, the whole nine.
Mhm.
But yeah, those are some of the ideas I have as far as public domain goes. I don't know, for some reason I like swashbucklers and I like classic character. And to be honest with you, I like swords. I think swords are cool. Swashbuckling is a great subgenre of storytelling. I like to use it. So
It seems like it's like that charismatic type of roguish character.
pretty much. So if I can write a story relating to one of those characters or something similar to that, excuse me, I'll take it. So wish me luck. We'll see how it goes. We'll play around with it somewhere down the line. But with that being said, you mentioned some of the challenges. You mentioned some of the other pieces of advice you would give to aspiring writers out there. So you already segued into the next question. So you're already ahead of the...
Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. You're ahead of the curve here, young one. You're kicking tail and taking names. That's what we want to say. But yeah, let's talk about this for a minute. So games of Tangled Hearts. How did this come about? And if you're trapped in an elevator with somebody, also known as the elevator pitch, how are you going to present it to somebody who's not familiar with this one?
So Games of Tangled Hearts is a modern heartfelt romance that features an online meet cute, two gamers that meet online in a tabletop RPG, or not tabletop RPG, sorry, an online MMO RPG, mass multiplayer online. So it's but you don't have to be a gamer to enjoy this. It's kind of like slipping into a fantasy world whenever they do play the video games. And this actually, I kind of touched on a little bit. I was sitting down and I was like, how can I bring my love of Shakespeare and make it a reality? And that's how I took a look at some of his early work. So settled on one of his early plays, Two Gentlemen of Verona. And in a lot of his comedies, there's a hidden identity aspect to it. So I was like, how can I represent a hidden identity in a modern setting? I was like, online. You can be whoever you want to be online. And especially whenever you're in a gamer space, you're online, you have a different persona. You can step in and be whoever you want to be. You can play as whoever you want to be. And so I created this fictional video game. It's called Mundo, which is based on the Globe Theater. That's where I got the name from. And it's kind of familiar with fantasy games. You pick your race, you pick your class, you get to pick one of 3 factions based on how you would like to play the game, and then you get different bonuses from that. And I focused on, there's like 4 major characters in Two Gentlemen of Verona. So I focused on Sylvia, I turned into Sylvie, and Valentine, who turned into Valentino. So we have Val and Sylvie on the front cover here. And Sylvie is stepping away from a financially abusive relationship and kind of learning to step out on her own figures and what she wants out of life. And Val never thought that he would find somebody that would fit into his life as an amateur streamer, as a Mundo enthusiast, and they meet online in the cutest way. I've been told that it will have your feet kicking because you're just squealing with joy from what these two go through together. And then there's actually a secondary meet cute because, of course, they have to meet in person then as well.
Interesting. All right. Well, that's cool. Taking a bit of a inspiration from the Bard.
From the Bard.
From Shakespeare, and putting your own spin on it. I dig that. There is two friends of ours were here in the studio, here virtually in our studios last week, promoting a Kickstarter campaign. I'm sure you've heard the words Kickstarter before.
Yes.
And there's a lot of Kickstarters going on. And granted, there's only so many Kickstarters to go around for people to support. But if you're a fan of Shakespeare and you're a fan of the Bard, but you want to see Shakespeare taken in a bit of a different direction and have stories told in modern time, you really should check out this Kickstarter that's going on right now for Shakespeare Adjacent, presented by Lou Tambone and Ally McDowell, who edited this anthology. They basically took a group of writers and said, hey, take all of Shakespeare's classic stories, but set them in modern times and write it the way you would want it to be presented. So if that's something that interests you and you're a fan of Shakespeare, you may want to check out this Kickstarter, folks. And especially for you, Kelsey, you may want to check out the Kickstarter as well. We're going to take the liberty and put the link to this Kickstarter in our comments section of this episode. So make sure you check that out and enjoy it, because the campaign's got less than 2 weeks to go, and they are on their way to being fully funded. But, as with all Kickstarters, every little bit helps, folks. And there's great tiers out there. There's some great rewards there. So check it out. There's a paperback version, ebook version. You can also get the ebook along with ebooks of other titles that Lou Tambone has contributed to, such as anthologies about the Joker, the classic DC villain from DC Comics, the Joker, called The Man Who Laughs. Hello. That's a good one. He's also contributed to other anthologies as well. So check it out. There you go. See, everybody's plugging each other.
Yeah. No, it seems like, we go from comedies and romances to historicals to some tragedies. So you're definitely, this Kickstarter is definitely spanning the areas of his work. So this sounds so cool.
Whether it's
I'm going to back this then.
Okay, well, whether it comes to A Midsummer Night's Dream or to As You Like It, all the Much Ado About Nothing, all that kind of stuff. But it's all there. Link is below in the comment section of this episode on our social media feeds, and I also took the liberty of posting it for you, Kelsey, in the private chat in case you needed it again.
Thank you.
Private chat is to the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, respectively. Anyway, fantastic. So you bring up Shakespeare, reminds me of our good friends Lou and Allie, who got this great anthology that's currently in the process of being funded through our good friends at Kickstarter. So check it out. There you go. See, everybody wins. Winner, chicken dinner, folks. What has been your experience going to book signings or conventions promoting your book? What has it been like so far? Any special memories stand out to you?
So I am actually going to be leaving this podcast to go talk to a local bookstore about my first book signing. So I haven't done a lot of in-person events just yet. Trying to get my footing with my online audience first, and then starting to set up my in-person events. So I'll start going to probably local Comic-Cons next year, when I have more of a little bit of a backlog. So it's not just one book that I have on my table. It's a couple of books that I'll have on my table. And that's my own personal choice, so that when I talk to somebody, it's not just one option. It's like, hey, if you don't like this novel here, if you like a little bit more of a romance fantasy, my next novella that's going to be coming out hopefully by the end of the year, I'm still working on getting some beta readers for it, is a Japanese inspired Red String of Fate opposites attract romance. So feudal Japan inspired Red String of Fate opposites attract romance. I'm actually getting artwork for it for the first time, and I know I'm deviating a little bit from the question, but I'm really excited about it right now. But so first signing event, we're going to go talk about that today after this podcast. And they say that they like to do it during town events, which is a little intimidating for me, because then there's like a lot of people swirling around. But like I said before, the moment that you connect with somebody and like they get excited about the words that you put on the page, that's so meaningful to me. Like I'm like honored that you would want to be that interested in something that I wrote to put down on the page. And whenever I'm an indie author, so I've self-published, and they always say, like, don't depend on your local, like your inner circles to support you. Not saying that they don't want you to succeed, but that doesn't mean that they're going to read your book. But I've had such support from my friends, from my family, buying my book and reading it and saying, oh my God, Kelsey, that's such a touching moment as well. So I have faith in this local community that the momentum was going to continue.
Well, that is just brilliant. You're taking your time, not rushing things, making it a process, taking it step by step. And I agree with you too. Yeah, it's best to have 2 or 3 books at one's booth when you start out, because you give people options, 31 flavors, like Baskin Robbins. So, it definitely helps. So what am I trying to say? The system that you are using and going about this the right way. I mean, clearly
This is the way.
This is the way.
This is the way.
Oh, such a good quote.
You can use it for pretty much anything. So
This is the way.
this is the way, and you're doing it the right way because this is the
Mhm.
way. This is the way.
This is
So,
the way.
you know, I mean, I got my first story being published in an anthology, but that's just one
Mhm.
story in one giant book filled with other writers' stories.
Mhm.
So, you know, I mean, which is great. It's fantastic. It's a huge honor for anybody, but
I was gonna say, don't discredit you. That's still an awesome opportunity. That's
it
how
is.
I got my start too. Was with
Yeah.
a story in Queer and Cute, and that was
Mhm.
a meet cute of two people that met in a line at a Comic-Con actually when they were meeting the voice actor for Goku.
Oh, that's good stuff. That really is. But yeah, no, I mean, it's one thing to have one story published in something under your belt, but if you have like 3 or 4 at your booth, especially when
Mhm.
you're starting out tabling,
Yeah.
it's best to have options for your audience, whoever you're targeting. So yeah, I'm in the process of writing some short stories. I got to do edits here, edits there. I'm going to publish.
Mhm.
In the beginning, one of the pieces of advice that I received from an indie writer friend of ours of Anti-Quote Studios, Charles F. Millhouse, is a new pulp writer. He said one of the pieces of advice he offered to aspiring writers is, if you want to start gain your audience, like gather a readership, build your
Mhm.
audience, publish your short stories as ebooks on Amazon.
Yeah.
And then once you get a number of them together, group them together as
Mhm.
an anthology, and then have that
Yep.
as a book at your table. So then when you start tabling, you can have 1, 2, maybe even 3 books that are anthologies of volumes of short stories written in different
Mhm.
genres, or one that's focused on one particular genre. However you want to go about it. There's no right or wrong way to do it as far as what types of stories you want in the anthologies. But as far as starting out goes, publish short stories as ebooks. And then once you
Yep.
gather enough of them up, like 5, 6, 7, maybe even 10, put those together and sell them as a paperback
Yeah.
on Amazon. And then when you go to start tabling, take copies of the book with you to sell, at your booth. When you have 2, maybe 3 books under your belt, probably best to do it when you have 2 or 3, not just 1. But when you have 2 or 3 under your belt, you can put them at your booth and say, hey, if you're in the mood for this, we have this. If you're in the mood for 5 different stories in 5 different genres, we have this. If you're in the mood for Westerns, I have a short story anthology that's all Western. Right?
Yep.
There's
So the novella that I was talking about was
yeah.
actually going to be, I'm going to do something similar to that, where I'm going to write 3, they're like 12 chapters, just like fun little, it's meant to be able to be read by the beach or something like that. But once I get all 3 of them done, I'm going to put them together in an anthology, but they're each going to be individually released as an ebook.
Even better. It's great. That's fantastic. That's a really good idea, and I support you. And I hope the person who's watching or listening to this right now, I hope they support you, because once again, this is Anti-Quote with the guest of honor, Kelsey Winton. Don't forget to like and share. If you have any questions, let us know in the comments or the chat. And if you're watching us live on the replay, this is the way. Hello there. I had to drop 2 of them. So, are there any writers you hope to meet somewhere down the line at these events, or maybe a writer or 2 you hope to collaborate with somewhere in the future?
Oh my goodness, those are very, very different questions. I'm actually going to be meeting some writers. Give me a second. I'm going to look at my calendar.
Let's look at the cheat codes, guys. We need a
Look
cliff
at the
notes
cheat
here.
codes.
Anybody got cliff notes in the backstage area of our studio?
So I'm going to go meet and listen to Lisa Gardner in August, and then in September.
Mm-hmm.
Where is it? I'm going to go see Emily Rath and Nevessa Allen.
Awesome.
And those are some other, and Lisa Gardner does more with mystery and thrillers, but Emily Rath is a contemporary artist, or contemporary writer she does like hockey romances, but she also does like fantasy romances at the same time. And Nevessa Allen does dark romances. So very, very different flavors, all under this, the big umbrella that is writing. I'm not going to sit here and say like I wouldn't collaborate with someone like Martin or Sanderson or Sarah J. Maas or even Rebecca Yaros. But my goodness, I would really like to collaborate with some other indie authors. Some of the connections that I've made and putting together something in an anthology with them, like I did with Queer and Cute, felt really special and really personal because I felt like we could understand each other's struggles and then we can support each other and lift each other up.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. That's fantastic. And if you ever need any names of other indie authors, indie writers, and I quote, we interview indie writers all the time. So if you literally, boy, there's a word right there. There's a word that goes with writing in books, literally and figuratively. If you ever need any phone numbers, email addresses, whatever, just let me know. I got a Rolodex full of them.
So why don't you put together an anthology, and I quote anthology?
I mean, like I said, I'm in the process of writing these short stories that I am going to eventually publish. I'm going to publish them one by one to start with as ebooks, like my friend suggested, and then after that, when I gather enough together, when I feel like I have enough under the what am I trying to say here? Enough under our belt, I will publish it as an anthology. I believe the tentative. By the way, this is all tentative. Everything in
Tentative.
Tentative. In the words of the commercials,
this is what we intend to do.
Yeah, but here's the thing you hear on commercials all the time: card is subject to change. So right now, I'm thinking of naming the anthology Adventures in Time or Adventures Through Time, because I like to write stories in different parts of history. Like one is a Western in 1860. Another one is in the 1990s. Another one maybe in the 2000s. You know, things like that. That's what I'm thinking of calling the anthology, is Adventures Through Time.
I like that. Through Time.
Volume 1. Because I'm not stopping at just one. I want to keep going.
Yeah. I meant more like if we got a Rolodex of indie authors, let's just get this all together.
And put together an anthology, you mean? Like what Lou's doing with Lou and his Lou and Allie doing Shakespeare thing? I mean, if you wanted to, I mean, that is an idea. I'm in a writer's Discord with a bunch of other writers on it. Are you in any Discords at all?
Yes, I'm in several different Discords, and I have one of my own. It's still very small and more building community, but I love Discord as a place to connect with all sorts of different people. Like my writers group, that the Healer and the Warlord, which is the novella that I'm working on, was in a critique group in a Discord.
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not opposed to that. I mean, I know a lot of writers. You know a lot of writers. If we gather our forces together and assemble the Justice League, hashtag not a sponsor. Sorry, I'm a DC fan. I can't help it. But, and by the way, just before anyone jumps on me for saying this, before you jump into the comment section and point the what do you call it, the pitchforks and torches at me, I like both Marvel and DC, guys. It's not that it's just like one over the other. I like both for different reasons. X-Men's a great analogy for autism. DC with Superman is a great analogy for anybody who's going through struggles or differences. And obviously, Superman is very different. I'm different. Everyone is different. But Superman is Clark Kent is a really good analogy for people who are different. And I mean big time. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But yeah, I'm totally down for assembling a group of some of my friends. Maybe you can get some of your friends together. Maybe we can gather all of our friends, a number of our friends. Do something similar to what we spoke about earlier with what Lou, Allie, and all these writers are doing for Shakespeare Adjacent, which is currently going on Kickstarter, listed in the comment section of this episode below, which has been very, very good to me. So I'm not opposed to it. I can write a Western. You know, we can make it like a multi-flavor anthology kind of thing.
Absolutely.
I can get people to, I could get like 2 or 3 writers to write Westerns. I can get 2 or 3 of them to write, what's the other one? Swashbuckling stories, or what's another one that my friends like to write? Adventure, globetrotting. So kind of like an Indiana Jones type treasure hunter type
adventure.
Basically, adventure pulp is what I'm saying. So adventure pulp, adventure stories, westerns, swashbucklers, maybe sci-fi. Maybe we can throw that in there for good measure. Absolutely. I don't know. I'm not opposed to it. I may have to bring this up to my part of the Discord community. You can bring this up to your part of the Discord community. You and I can exchange information about it. It'd be a lot of fun. Listen, folks, even though Egon keeps telling us don't cross the streams, why? It could be bad. I'm a little fuzzy on the whole good-bad thing. What do you mean bad? Try to imagine all life on Earth and every molecule in your body exploding at the speed of light. Total platonic reversal. Okay, that's bad. All right, good safety tip. Thanks, Egon. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. I've seen that movie a couple of times. It's classic. If you haven't seen it before, please do yourself a favor and watch the 1984 masterpiece known as Ghostbusters. And I'm sure Kelsey and her family have seen it numerous times.
Yes, numerous times.
That's
and the different iterations of it.
True, there's been others as well. But don't forget, that's a big Twinkie. And I used to eat Twinkies a lot as a kid. So that was a great analogy that Egon and who was the other one? Ray and Winston brought up. I thought that was hilarious. By the way, tell them about the Twinkie. What about the Twinkie? It's just, oh my gosh, it's so funny. It's so quotable. We did a 40th anniversary watch along for that last year on our channel, which I'll send the footage over to Kelsey so she can take a look at the footage. It was a lot of fun. I'm not going to lie. It's just the first 45 minutes of the movie. I can't stop laughing because of how funny it is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, especially when, even when they go into the hotel and the maid's like, "What the hell are you doing?" I'm sorry. We thought you were someone else. I can't do it. And when you see the Charm City Ghostbusters at your friendly neighborhood Comic Cons, right? The Charm City Ghostbusters, you've seen it, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're great people. They're so nice. Have you met the cosplayers at these things?
Yep.
They're very nice.
They're some of the nicest people that I've ever met.
Yeah, and they do a lot of great things for charity. So let's keep that in mind, folks. It's a lot of fun when you go to there are cosplaying organizations who do stuff for 501c3s, nonprofits, charity organizations. Check your local listings. There's a lot of great ones out there. I mean, obviously, the Charm City Ghostbusters is a Marylander thing for us. So, Maryland. By the way, we're ready to believe you, hun. That's what they say in their catchphrase. Did you notice that?
No, I didn't notice that.
It's true. They say, "We're ready to believe you, hun," because that's a Baltimore thing. So, it's fun fact. But with that being said, congratulations on everything you've done. And we're looking forward to seeing what you're going to bring us in the future, because you've already described what your 5 and 10-year plan is going to be. With your writing, right? Your writing process and your writing stories of moving forward. I want to take this opportunity to say thank you so much, Kelsey, for being our guest on this week's episode of And I Quote. It is an honor, a joy, and a privilege to have you here. You're welcome back anytime, by the way.
Thank you.
You're always welcome to come back. And by the way, for pitching the idea of maybe getting our friends together and putting together an anthology based around either one particular genre, or maybe we can just make it a multifaceted anthology that features
come up with a concept, and then we can do multifaceted.
Yeah, we can pitch it and then see where people want to go with it, and then maybe refine it, retool it a little bit. Isn't that what we say? So you and I, basically what we're trying to tell you is Kelsey and I are going to be up to something. Maybe it's something good. Maybe it's something not so good. We don't know. Too soon to tell. But with all due respect, Kelsey, thank you for pitching that idea to us here in the studio. We, in the words of DJ Khaled, we appreciate you. So I had to use that one once because I've used that gift so many times on social media. I don't know if you've seen it or not, but it's happened. So Kelsey, if someone wants to know more about you or check out your D&D campaigns, day and date, or check out your book, where can they follow you on social media?
Absolutely. You can follow me at author Kelsey Winton on most social medias. I'm on TikTok, Instagram, Threads, and sometimes I dabble on Blue Sky. I play a weekly D&D campaign with DM Seti over on his Twitch channel, twitch.tv/DM I am also in a sci-fi podcast called One by One by Mother Nerd Productions. I play a disgraced starship captain. Her name is Sylvia Bell, and those episodes release bi-weekly. The third episode just released this past Monday.
Excellent. That's fantastic. Congratulations. Wonderful. You're everywhere. You're like on 31 different channels now.
I like storytelling. What can I say? And then I think that that's multifaceted, and you can find stories in book, audio, and TV formats now. That's very true. I'm not going to argue that point. Thank you so much, Kelsey. I'm going to be talking to you here again momentarily. So in the words of our good friend Arnold, stick around. There's another reference there for you. I don't know if you got it. My name is Ryan of And I Quote channel. Follow me across all forms of social media. Simply at, where am I pointing to? Where is it? There it is. At And I Quote channel. That's where we post about our upcoming shows, upcoming appearances. My friends and I are going to be at Shore Leave Convention in Lancaster, Pennsylvania on Sunday, July 13th. We're going to be there. We're going to be hanging out with the vendors, meeting some of the celebrity guests, cast members from Starship Troopers, a sci-fi television series known as The Orville. If you're familiar with Seth MacFarlane's work, you'll know what The Orville is. I'm just pointing that out there.
And lots of other great things coming your way. Movie watch-alongs are on Friday nights, 7 p.m. Eastern time, and then the flagship show that you are witnessing here right now, and I quote, is on Saturdays, 12 p.m. Eastern. We got a lot of great things planned. We're also going to be doing a celebration of the Western genre on Sunday, July the 20th at 1 p.m. Eastern time with our good friends Luke Goodich and T.G. Brown, who are independent writers, are going to be joining us for that extravaganza. So if you're a fan of the Western, you want to, get your friends together, get your crew together, gather up your posse, and settle up. Join us on Sunday, Sunday, July the 20th, 1 p.m. Eastern time. Once again, links to that great Kickstarter, if you're a fan of Shakespeare, you want to see it turned on its head and set in modern times, is located in the comment section of this episode of And I Quote. So check out Shakespeare Adjacent, edited by Lou Tambone and Ally McDowell. We appreciate you guys. We wish you the best. I'm a backer on the campaign. I'm excited to get this book in my hands and read it, experience it for myself, and I'm sure that Kelsey is looking forward to getting her copy, whether it be through ebook or paperback, and read some Shakespeare stories told in a modern setting, as one would put it. But don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, ring the bell to be notified when the videos go up or they go live. Remember, life is better when supporting indie creators from all over the world. Take a look.
Author Cindy Kep is writing on the edge. Books include Remnant in the Stars, The Loudest Actions, Lines of Succession, Mindstorm, Condemned Courier, the Yerushalayim series, and Animal Eye. Find author Cindy Kep at CKOEPP.com today.
Hey guys, you're watching Ryan's channel, and I quote. New channel, I just wanted to send a special shout out that you guys will continue to embrace the nerd within. This is Tracy Lynn Cruz, in case you don't know, Ashley from Power Rangers in Space and Power Rangers Turbo. I just want to let you know, thank you so much for all of your support. Ryan's amazing, and I quote your channel, amazing. You guys keep on morphing and embrace the nerd within.